most, but I do a lot. I'ma make a toast, cause we still alive. No big, I feel like Pac. I shoot a shot. I'm coming in hot.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to East Coast Rivals. It's been a whole long time since we filmed. It's your boy Mike McCormick to my right, Jacob Southpaw Siesla to my left, Scott Braveheart Baylor. Boys, we're back. We got a new sound. We got a new look. And we're still the same old meatheads. How's everybody doing?
Doing all right.
Doing all right, pretty good. We got a little intense earlier before the podcast, but that's just how it is when it comes to sports, and we're passionate about it.
Well, I just want to start off real quick by saying, Scott, what did you think it would be a good idea to tell a man that his favorite team sucks?
I didn't say his team sucked. I just said there's untapped potential there.
It's a very nice way of saying your team
in
sucks.
very, very lesser words, of course.
Untapped potential. I like that. All right, enough about that. We got a pretty full schedule tonight. We're going to do some quick recapping, and then we're going to talk about clearly our favorite sport, the NFL. Starting off, though, let's get to the MLB. Season's winding down, even though it feels like it just started. So who wants to start? Let me hear some reactions as to what you guys have seen with this COVID season. Anybody tired of the cardboard fans? Anybody surprised as to what teams are really making a run here? About the fact that the Yankees suck? I mean, what do you guys want to talk about?
Well, I do agree that the Yankees still suck. Good. However, it is kind of crazy. There's only about 10 to 12 games left in the season for almost every single team. So we're down the stretch here. A lot of teams there are some teams already out of the playoffs. Sorry, Boston Red Sox. But, my Mets are going to be pretty close behind. They've got to basically win 9 of their last 11. But there are some surprises. Definitely some surprises. And I think the biggest surprise is the AL Central. I feel like that's the best division in baseball. About a week ago, the Indians, the Twins, and the White Sox were up at the top, right behind the Dodgers as far as the best record in baseball. Indians have fallen off a little bit, but to think that the White Sox, Twins, and Indians will all make the playoffs, obviously we have a modified season, but that's still pretty crazy.
Scott, let me hear your thoughts.
I would say I got to give it to MLB. They had a little speed bumps there with the Cardinals, St. Louis, and the Marlins.
Yeah, I was going to say, Marlins started that.
And the Marlins. But since then, they've done a great job in dealing with what they had to do to at least get a season going. I agree with the AL Central. That's been a surprise. You can't leave out Slam Diego out there in the NL West. That's coming down to the final wire between them and the Dodgers. What the Padres will do in the playoffs is yet to be seen. Also, I have to give it up for the Miami Marlins. Their young talent pitching has definitely stepped up for them, which is a bright sign towards their future. When you make enough trades and you trade Stanton away, trading JT Realmuto away, eventually those prospects will have to come in, and now you're starting to see what Jeter was planning on doing this entire time with that team. The biggest letdown is I thought the Diamondbacks would have been better than how they're playing right now, to be honest with you. Madison Bumgarner, ERA's up in the 6.59. He has not lived up to the contract that he got, which begs to wonder probably why a lot of teams were not asking or not willing to pay the price that he was asking for. So it's interesting to see how the playoffs are going to go. We got extended playoffs and everything, and to see what team is going to take it all this year. It's going to be a good playoff race, I feel like.
One thing that actually kind of surprised me, I feel like, when it comes to COVID ball, if you want to call it that, was we had multiple conversations about how is this going to work, when are they going to make this start, and one of the biggest things I had a hard time with was the way they were planning to do doubleheaders. I'm not going to lie, the 7-inning doubleheaders really played out well. I feel like it's been beneficial for all of the teams. It really hasn't made much of a difference. I feel like not a lot of doubleheaders came down to one or two single runs that really were like, you know what, if our closer had more time, this, that, or the other, it would have made a different story. So kind of impressed with the Major League Baseball organization there.
I think people will disagree to that because, I mean, you could be down 5 runs going into the ninth, and we've seen crazier things happen.
Yeah,
but I understand where you're coming from.
It's a different type of landscape for a coach to figure out who you're going to put at second, also in double headers or in extra innings and stuff. You were saying?
all in all, I do agree with Michael.
I was rather impressed with the way that panned out. And 2 teams that I'm actually looking forward to in the post is going to be the Tampa Bay Rays because everybody knew they were going to play well, but I didn't think they were going to be playing this well.
No one thought they were going to be winning the division. I mean, I'm pretty sure we all picked the Yankees to win. So.
Yeah, and there's a solid chance they'll lock it down here pretty soon. And
I mean, they're playing the Mets, I think, pretty soon, so I think they'll lock it down.
And then the Athletics.
They're always a team that wins 90 games or more, but first round eliminated every year.
I know. I want to see them make a run, though. I would like to see it happen.
To feed off what you were just saying, there's 2 things I wanted to add. Number one, we have to admit, I don't know how the players feel, but there's been a lot of injuries to big names players this year. James Paxton just went out for the regular season. Christian Yelich has not played up to his performance either. He's still dealing with the knee. Bellinger's kind of been up and down with his injuries this year. Me being a Braves fan, prime example, we've had players not perform. We've had players had so many injuries. Soroka going down with a torn Achilles. It's just, you could tell that there was some effects to being such a long layoff, especially with some of the prime time. But like, look at Jose Altuve. I know about the whole sign stealing thing, but he's still a good player that should not be performing the way he is right now.
Did you call him Jose?
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
I have a different opinion of that because being a Mets fan, every player is hurt every single year, so that is nothing new to me when it comes. So the fact that other people are getting hurt, I mean, obviously, I hope best thing for their career. They come overcome it, and they have great careers after that injury. But like, come on, injuries are part of the game. It happens all the time.
Not even just injuries.
Yes, some things are. Like, hamstring injuries, oblique injuries, that can be something from not being quite ready to play baseball. They need to be prepped in normal spring training and things like that. But, like, tearing an Achilles like Soroka did, like, that's just a complete – it was a spoof. Like, that rarely happens, but the same thing happens a lot of times with other players.
But you also got to admit that with the spring training – you go from getting your timing down. They were going towards the end of spring training, and then to just halt that, take 3 months off, and then go back to learning to get your timing down.
Yeah, but
not saying that's the reason why they're injured, but it couldn't have helped.
All right, guys. Well, we got a couple more weeks till season's over. Your prediction's the same. They changed it all. I'm assuming they have. So let's hear some bold predictions. Let's talk World Series. Screw it.
I mean, I'm going to stick with my same prediction, Dodgers-Yankees, Dodgers winning.
Me being a Braves fan, they just don't have the starting pitching right now. They're outscoring everybody, and they have a good bullpen, but you can't rely on a rookie, a veteran.
I do want to make a comment about that. I was looking at the standings. Their run differential was like second or third in the league. The only reason was the night before they won by 20 runs. It was an ass spanking for sure, but I was like, damn, they're second in the run differential. And then I realized, wait, they won by 20 last night. So,
but they have a great offense. Adam Duvall coming out of nowhere.
Definitely.
And maybe this is the year Freddie Freeman finally wins MVP since Tatis has he's been good, but he hasn't had the month that he had. But World Series, I have to change it up. NL to me is up for grabs. Dodgers to me do not seem like it. Kershaw has not been Kershaw. That division
But they're not all just Kershaw now.
No,
I understand.
I understand that, but NL to me is up for grabs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I tried to mention it before. Hey, the Cubs get hot. I mean, they've been winning the division the whole year.
I'm going out on a bold prediction right now. Tampa Bay Rays will be in the World Series.
Ooh,
I don't think that's that bold.
I like it.
Now, if we said at the beginning of the year, very bold. Now, I mean, they're division leaders.
Don't be surprised if you see a White Sox Tampa Bay Rays ALCS.
No, I can see it, definitely.
All right, guys, let's transition away from baseball. Let's talk about sports that are still going on and wrapping up here pretty soon. Let's start with NBA. Are we happy with the way things turned out in Orlando?
Yes.
Definitely.
I would believe so.
Yeah.
They've had, like I said in the beginning, just like baseball, had a few hiccups, few players go out. But other than that, they've kept that pretty locked down. And they've done a pretty good job, especially with the whole virtual thing, get fans somewhat involved, give them something. But the outcomes of the games, Milwaukee taking an early exit.
That's the biggest surprise. Easily the biggest surprise.
They have to do something with Milwaukee. The owner already told Mutombo, I can't pronounce his last name, that Giannis, I'm just calling him Giannis, that they're going to dip into the luxury tax this year. Give him a supporting cast.
They have to.
They have to.
I mean, he is the best player in baseball.
And they can't hold that against him. There's been a lot of chatter of that being he can't do it on his own. You look at championships prior, a lot of people can't do it on their own.
They need something.
They can't, man. It's just impossible.
The last team that tried to do that was Dwight Howard in Orlando.
Yeah, and it was
and they went to the finals one year, but it never panned out.
And he tried to do it on his own, and look what happened. He got hurt.
Well,
no, I'm talking about Giannis. He got hurt.
Yeah.
He faced a great defensive team, and he got hurt. He tried to do too much.
I'm still sticking with the Lakers, but before I know I'm kind of like getting ahead of ourselves here. I just want to put that out there, but I want to go kind of not necessarily go back to baseball when we're talking about this whole COVID thing. I have to give more credit to baseball for figuring out their shit because they're traveling, they're doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
The NBA, the NHL, they've been in a bubble this whole time.
Well,
if they couldn't stay on the court or on the ice, that's their own damn fault.
They are doing
baseball is so much different because they're traveling, they're at their homes, they're at hotels, they're all over the place. So the fact that they figured out their stuff, a lot of props to baseball.
They are going to have a bubble now for the LLCS in the World Series, I think. For the Texas Rangers ballpark, I believe they said.
Really?
So that's going to be interesting. And then there may be a possibility of fans. They haven't decided yet. It's still just wait and see since COVID kind of.
They have a big enough ballpark. They can at least have 10,000 fans.
Yeah. So we'll wait and see how that turns out. I'm still sticking with the Celtics, Lakers in the finals. To be honest with you, depending on the Heat, we knew their defense was going to be good. But to me, Boston is a team where you have 5 players. If Hayward ever comes back, 5 players on their starting 5, they could put up 20 instead of 1 player like the Bucks had to rely on.
Mm-hmm. I definitely think it's to me, a Boston Lakers series, and it's kind of different because like when we had the Lakers and the Celtics playing, like there was always you had Johnson versus Bird, and then the last time it was Kobe versus Pierce, and of course Gasol and KG and whatever.
And now you have,
but now it's like wait. LeBron versus Kemba, like that type of like that's something I don't think we ever would have thought a Boston, a Lakers, Celtics finals. That those were going to be like the main players of those series.
Big if, because I don't want to get ahead of myself because Boston is down 1 game right now, pending what happens tonight. If the Celtics do make it, I don't think it's going to be that. It's either going to be they're going to say it's LeBron versus Tatum. Or they're going to say it's LeBron versus Boston. Yeah. Because let's be honest, there's not a single individual in the city of Boston. The city of Boston. I can't talk tonight. Who likes LeBron James? And if they do, they're a transplant.
I just hope Kemba, as of right now, he's been struggling. Hopefully, he can get back on track. But that matchup with the Lakers and the Nuggets, Lakers cannot go into that series thinking that they're just going to run through the Nuggets.
Wait, hold on. I missed that.
Did you not know that?
Yeah, the
Nuggets came back and upset the Clippers?
Yeah.
Wow.
They destroyed.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Nuggets have been down 3-1. What was it, 3-1 in every series so far, and they've came back and won every time.
Wow, that's impressive.
It is very impressive.
That is impressive.
I bet you
they do have a
Jamal,
really good
like
roster.
I said, Jamal Murray and them, they're quiet team.
They have a very good roster, and it's top to bottom, and it's also guards and bigs too.
And
it's not
the
just
center's name.
Jokic. Or
Yeah,
something like that.
he's
really good.
arguably one of the best passing centers I've ever seen.
He's one of the best big men in the entire league.
Yeah.
When it comes to scoring, defense, rebounding, passing.
But they can't go in there thinking that they're just going to run through the Nuggets.
It's going to end up being a very, very interesting series to watch. Same as Miami and Boston is going to be a very interesting series.
Miami,
to watch.
they have scores, but their biggest thing for them is defense.
Miami and Boston is very similar into where they
play better defense than Boston.
But it's
prime example game one.
Yeah,
it's a team dynamic for both teams. Whereas you look at the Lakers, it's LeBron and AD.
It's going to be physical, no doubt about it.
Oh, definitely. And honestly, it might be a good game 7 series.
All right, guys. Last NHL.
Yes.
Probably the least exciting for me to talk about. Scott's already flexing. Let's talk over to Tampa Bay douchebag over here and let's see what he has to say.
Just like I predicted.
Shut up.
Joe. The Bruins series.
Why are we talking about the Bruins series?
Because we have to.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we do.
All right.
It ultimately just came down to if they had.
We had a backup goalie.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you want to use that. But there's also the fact that they relied too much on Marchand and Pasternak. The second line were not doing very much for the Bruins. That, in my opinion, they could have played better. They couldn't just rely on Marchand, Bergeron, and Pasternak.
# be better.
Everybody could play better.
Definitely.
But the Lightning, they have had guys come up big for them. Palat, McDonough, Kucherov, obviously. Hopefully points back tonight from his concussion. He's game time decision. But he's had 9 goals. Hedman, 7 goals this postseason. So we're getting goals from guys that didn't really score that often, what you need. And obviously our goaltending is arguably one of the best goaltenders in the league. I didn't really watch much of the Vegas series. You said it was a crapshoot, but I predicted Dallas was my sleeper team out there. Didn't watch very much of the Vegas series. I want to hear your opinion why you thought Vegas lost to Dallas.
So it goes back to the series beforehand against Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
Games 1 and 2, we were winning. We won both games.
Mm-hmm.
And then game 3, they started their backup goalie, who was 23, 24 years old. It was his first career playoff start. And he basically shut us out. We scored 1 goal. We lost the game. He shut us out the next game. And our offense changed drastically. Like, the offense changed. They couldn't score. So to me, it became a head game where they're like, we can't score.
So y'all losing Fleury had nothing to do with it.
No.
And no outcome on the game. No.
If you watch the Chicago Blackhawks series, if you watch the round robin games, we were averaging 4 or 5 goals a game. After game 2 of the Vancouver series, we averaged like 1 goal a game. Mm-hmm. The offense just shut down. And it was because this goaltender who made his first career playoff start, it was second and third. Now, we won the series against Vancouver. We ended up winning. But then even going into Dallas, we could not score. We had a 2-0 lead in the elimination game. A 2-goal lead with 11 minutes to play. And we ended up blowing the game.
So it was a mixture of scoring and not being able to close out games.
Yeah, it was a combination of that. Now, I had a little bit of a tough time with it because not only A, we lost, but B, it was your damn stupid sleeper team that you picked that I knew you were going to be so excited to talk about. So obviously I'm a little salty about that. But no, they just didn't deserve it. They didn't deserve it. The game drastically changed for them after game 2 of that Vancouver series. They just couldn't score a goal.
I'm not a Vegas fan, but I'm obviously a hockey fan and enjoy watching the game, and I've obviously watched the games when Jake was here and it was on. Fuck the Lightning. Anyway, I mean, one thing everybody knows who watches hockey, especially avidly, is if once you take your foot off the gas, it's the biggest mistake you can make.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I noticed about, because Boston does it all the time, and it pisses me off, and one thing I noticed Vegas is doing the same thing. As soon as you get a lead, you start playing back. You start passing the puck slowly. You start trying to advance.
But see, that was also not necessarily the case because they had a 2-goal lead in the elimination game, a 2-goal lead, and they committed a penalty.
Yeah.
And that was the first goal.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh,
And
great,
it's not
here
like
we
you don't
go.
have guys that haven't been in that type of scenario.
No, exactly.
before.
Pacioretty, Stone, Marchessault, Riley Smith. Yeah. I mean, tons of guys that have playoff experience. I mean, their main defensemen were part of that Stanley Cup team the first time they went around. So it was just a combination of they couldn't close, and became the offense couldn't score a goal.
See, with Tampa, all the teams I wanted to face, we have faced. The Bruins one, I was worried about. I predicted them going to Game 7. Then Tuch dropped out, and then it was a different ball game. Even though there were games where the way they played, it didn't come out the right way. But I really like our chances against the Islanders tonight, especially points back. It's one of those times when you're up 3-1, you can sacrifice a game and take give a point extra rest or give somebody an extra rest. That's what we did against.
Series is 3-2, by the way.
Yeah, I know the math.
He was saying the last game,
okay.
Game 5,
Yeah.
they gave players rest and they lost, and now they're ready Game 6.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Any closing statements you'd like to make about the MLB, the NBA, or the NHL?
Lightning going to win it all.
I agree.
Why did that have to be
Unfortunately,
a closing statement?
Lightning are going to win it
no.
all.
I think the Lightning do win. I think the Dodgers win, and I think the Lakers win.
You picking Dodgers to win the World Series?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Really?
Yep.
All right.
I mean, y'all didn't make those.
I
I know I jumped to the Lakers, but I don't remember us saying who was going to win.
Oh, I think Boston wins it all. And the Boston Celtics win it all. I think the Lightning win it all. Yeet. And then in baseball, that one's very hard. Like I said, NL, up for grabs. AL, I'm picking the Tampa Bay Rays to be in the World Series.
But who do you think's going to win? Pick a winner.
Dodgers.
Tampa Bay.
Oh,
Okay. I would like to see that happen. I have to
honestly,
say,
not going to lie. I would
like to see
I would
that.
like to see that.
Anybody but the Yankees
obviously.
or St. Louis.
Or St. Louis. Yeah. MLB's tough call. I'm definitely seeing a Dodgers, Rays. I think we're all on the same page there. Well, Rays being more of a hopeful, but we would like to see it happen. Probably going to be Mookie holding up another World Series trophy with the Dodgers. Looking at the NBA, I don't want to make any rash.
Which is make sure Jacob watches all the games this time. That didn't even know the Nuggets won.
I'm gonna knock on some wood here because I'm superstitious, but I would like to say Boston's gonna take it all. I would love to see it happen. I mean, a Lakers Celtics championship, everybody loves it. It's been beloved for
I don't love
years
it.
and years and years.
I'm not a fan of either.
And then-
What are you talking about?
The NHL, I am going to
Wait, but-
transition us to the NFL. Let's go ahead and get started.
No, but did you say an NBA winner?
Yeah, Boston.
Oh, damn you.
Why?
Such a homer.
No, I did that. That's a lie. That's a lie. All right, guys, let's start talking. Week one. Week one was exciting. I'm sorry. It felt normal. 2020 felt normal. Sitting home watching fucking football.
So, to be honest, I woke up Saturday morning, and I know we're going Saturday, but it was normal this
Right.
time of year. We're talking
Football
college.
weekend.
We're talking college football. We're talking NFL.
Right.
I woke up Saturday morning to do some yard work, and I'm not gonna lie, the weather and the smell just reminded me that it feels normal. It feels like football season.
Bro, you live in Florida. What was it, 92, not 95?
No, it was actually like 80 degrees with
Really?
no humidity.
Wow.
Yes, I was shocked, and it just felt like football. It was the first time since all of this COVID thing has started.
Celine Dion playing in the background.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was the first time that it did not feel like COVID had ever happened. Like, it felt like a normal weekend in September, October. It felt like a normal football
I
weekend.
completely agree.
I felt
was saying that.
I felt whole again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely
Definitely.
was. we had a big party. We were all hanging out, and obviously it's a tradition now. We cheers to the first game of the season, but just the feeling of cheersing to the first game of the season was just so euphoric, just ready for football to be back. All right, boys, let's dive right into it, and let's talk one big surprise from week one. One big thing that you really noticed that you were like, wow.
Arizona. I have to say they went up against the NFC champs, and let's call it like we see it. The NFC West is going to be the toughest division in football. And Arizona out there was Kyler Murray, and it was a boxing match out there between them and San Fran. San Fran proved that they're not good against mobile quarterbacks, and they hung in there and they surprised. I think they're going to be a good sleeper team this year and surprise a lot of people, especially with Chandler Jones on defense and everything like that. So,
I do agree with you that actually might be the best division in football this year.
Mm-hmm.
And now this might not be a big shocker, but I just want to say how impressed I was last Thursday with the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, there's a lot of teams that come out, they win their Super Bowl. The next year, they're not the same team. To me, the Kansas City Chiefs look like a team that is prime to repeat and potentially go undefeated. Drafting Clyde Edward-Helaire in round 1 this past spring, summer, whatever you want to call it, I was a little skeptical.
because of his height?
Speaking of,
Him and Michael are about to say
It's because he's...
Sorry, Michael.
I'm going to punch you in the face when you're not expecting it.
It wasn't necessarily that I don't think he was the height or anything, but he played at LSU where he was surrounded by a great offensive line, arguably the greatest quarterback in college football history.
Spread him out.
The receivers, they had LSU, that national championship team was one of the best national championship teams we've seen in a long time.
It's easy to look good when everybody else
Exactly. It's easy to look good when everyone else is great. The tape, to me, he didn't look as elusive as some people thought he was. He didn't look as fast. There were just certain things.
Boy, did he prove you wrong.
But yeah, exactly. Now, granted, it's just one game. It's a very small sample size at the NFL level. But he was fantastic. And that was the one thing that I think you could argue that Kansas City didn't have last year when they won the Super Bowl. Was they didn't really have that elusive running game. They tried LaShawn McCoy. They tried Damian Williams. They tried Darwin Thompson. It was just, they had to do it by committee. Now, Clyde Edward-Helaire can do it all. And they still have those receivers. They still have the offensive line. Obviously, you got Patty Mahomes. And the defense has been solid under Steve Spagnuolo. So, that, to me, it's not really a surprise. But just how impressive they were in week 1, I think is what kind of speaks volumes to me out of all the other teams. Yes, the Packers look great. Yes, the Seahawks look great. But I don't know. There was just something about what the Chiefs did Thursday night against a playoff team, against a quarterback in Deshaun Watson, who is supposed to be an MVP caliber quarterback, and they made him look average.
I don't think they're going to be a playoff team this year, the Texans. And I understand what you're trying to say, but it's just one of those games where you expect them to perform that way. You expect the Chiefs to play that way against a Texans defense that's been gutted and against an offense that was still trying to find its identity now. I know they got Johnson, but they lost Hopkins. They don't know if they're going to spread them out. They don't know if they're going to pound it down your throat. They don't know. They don't have an identity as a team yet.
They played the returning Super Bowl champs who looked like the Super Bowl team from last year. Yes. I think they're going to be better than
but who was up 24-10 at halftime against them on the playoffs? The Texans.
Was that the score at halftime?
Yeah,
I know.
The Titans also had a lead. So did San Francisco.
I know they had a 21-point lead in the second quarter, but
I understand that. But there's two different teams from the playoff team that year to Texans now.
And you could also argue on the flip side, the Chiefs are also
reloading.
Exactly.
They reloaded,
and that's what was
Texans,
so impressive.
I'm not taking anything away from the Chiefs. I agree with what you're saying with the Chiefs. I'm just saying. I don't want to say undefeated season for them. I don't. Everybody's predicting. There's people.
I said that.
There's some people that are predicting that it's a team that we expect them to perform like. to perform the way they did. We'll wait and see when they face a real defense. Not saying Pat Mahomes can't. They face the Ravens here in 2 weeks. We'll wait and see how they are come then.
Mm-hmm. They're still going to be impressive. All right, so you talk Cardinals, you talk Chiefs. Guys, should I flip a coin? Who should I talk about? Cam or Brady? All right, moment of silence. Got it. Brady. Let's talk Brady. Very underwhelming performance. Not impressed whatsoever. I don't think that offensive line understands how to block to start with, and I think he.
What do you think Jameis Winston's been staying for?
Even when he had good coverage and was able to throw the ball, his passes weren't even that great either. I think he had a couple of really good dimes, and then other than that, it was unimpressive. Now it's Tom Brady, so I'm sure he's going to turn around. It's going to be a different story next week, and then he's just going to gradually get better, and then December he's going to be elite, and then it's going to be the same routine it is every year. But they were playing one of the best teams in the NFC.
They were in New Orleans.
Yeah, and I mean, how much is the difference? I mean, it may make a difference, but I don't feel like
there's still no fans. Yeah,
exactly. But
it's a comfort level.
Yeah, it is.
They're playing the place
AstroTurf
too.
Yeah.
The noise doesn't make an impact.
They're playing Carolina. They're playing Carolina this week. Interested to see how that turns out. It's I don't know. We'll see if he turns it around. I'm sure he's going to because they're playing Carolina. But I think the Bucs are probably kicking themselves right now, going, "Shit, I think we didn't get the Brady from 4 years ago."
I have a question for everybody here. Who watched the game on Sunday? I know you did. Yeah. Did you watch some of the game?
Yeah.
Did it seem like to me that we can admit that his arm strength is not what it used to be 4 years ago?
Of course.
So do you feel like that they approached their offense in a type of way where they think that he was going to be able to throw the ball the way he did 4 years ago? Or should they switch to a type of offense where you need a dink and dunk because there was no timing between him and his receivers. There was was no precision. He doesn't have that arm strength.
I feel like that was the check down because I feel like that was the case. They were doing the dink and dunks because he was going to his check down man majority of his passes. The problem is, you're right, they weren't in sync.
So to kind of comment on that, there's a couple different variables. This is not the same Brady that we have known.
Man's 43. So.
Exactly. This is not the same Brady that we're accustomed to.
His birthday yesterday.
Well, happy late birthday, Tom Brady. This is not the same Tom Brady that we're used to. Then that's because of age. There's the natural deterioration of a quarterback's skills. We saw Peyton Manning win the Super Bowl with basically throwing ducks. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
Now, the other side of it is when you have a new quarterback with all these new receivers, it takes time to develop timing, a relationship, all that on the field. Usually that happens in the offseason. Well, we didn't really have an offseason. We didn't have OTAs. We didn't really have preseason, training camp, all that stuff.
Yeah.
They could have gotten...
They couldn't really do what
Yeah, it's not the normal offseason because of COVID and everything that's happening. So that is also playing a factor into it. So I think it's a little too much to be like, oh, Brady's trash now, or Brady's not. I mean, yeah, he might not be what he used to be, of course. But like Michael said, as the weeks go on, he should get better and better. And by the end of the year, he should be just fine in playing potentially elite football. And I do expect that because they didn't have the time. Teams and receivers that had played with each other for a long time. I mean, look at Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. They didn't skip a beat. Julio had 9 catches for over 150 yards last week.
When Ben had Antonio Brown, they fed off each other when to break off a route. And
when you have that connection, it doesn't matter if you had the offseason to work on stuff because you already know how each other plays. Mm-hmm. But because of this new element with not really having OTAs and a preseason and all that, I do think that plays a factor in it. Now, is that the end-all be-all? No, because, of course, Brady's 43 now. So who knows if he's going to
I have one quick question, and then I'd like for us to jump into our next segment. It's either a yes or a no. You were talking about connection with a receiver. You're talking about building that over the years. He's got his boy Gronk there. He was not played a lot Yes or no, does he need to play more?
Who?
Gronk. For that offense to be better.
Yes. Not the main focal point, but it's a weapon that he needs to have because he doesn't have a relationship with those receivers yet. He needs to have the guy that he's had timing with when he is in jeopardy.
I do agree that he does need Gronk because, like Scott mentioned, there is that familiarity, there is some of that timing. But again, on the flip side of that, this also might not be the Gronk that Tom Brady used to play with because he spent the whole year in retirement, which he didn't play football. And I'm pretty sure he's not back to his same playing weight.
I don't believe
He's not.
He actually got slimmer, and
so that's a different thing for Gronk.
Granted,
it's a different thing for Brady. So
his blocking was still unbelievable.
I mean, a football player is going to make a good football player is still going to make plays.
Second nature, but I feel like the Tampa Bay fans, to me, from the reports and stuff like that, I think they went into the mindset of going, we've had a quarterback who could not throw the ball. Or could throw the ball, but cost us a lot of games because of picks. But they felt like when they signed Tom Brady that he was going to be the one that carried the entire team.
He was going to cut the turnovers in half.
But it can't be like that when you have to have Tom Brady be 43. You can't have that Tom that New England was gladly to have. You're going to have a quarterback that doesn't turn over the ball. You're going to have a quarterback who knows how to win games, but it has to come from both sides of the ball because their defense did not look as spectacular towards the end of in that game against the Saints. So it's going to be, you have the right pieces. It's just saying you can't just rely on Tom to bail you out of everything.
Mm-hmm. Personally, I think they need to get O.J. Howard the ball more.
You're kidding.
Moving on.
He's still so bad. He's so bad.
Moving on. I want to try a new segment with you guys. I mean, it's early in the season to start talking division winners, but I mean, let's make some predictions. We make bold predictions all the time, but this is how I want to try it. And let me see if you guys think this is a good idea or not. 30 seconds per person, and we're going to go around the table, and we're going to start with each division. We're going to start AFC. We're going to go East, West, North, South. NFC, East, West, North, South. 30 seconds, give your prediction. Everybody gives rebuttals, then we move on to the next person. All right, let's get us started. AFC East. Jacob.
New England Patriots. I think Cam Newton's the best quarterback in the division. I know Josh Allen looked pretty good week one. I know the Bills looked good week one, but against one of probably, unfortunately, my Jets, one of the worst teams in the league. I know the Patriots did the same thing against the Dolphins, but again, I'm counting on Cam Newton and Belichick being better than the other coaches and the other quarterbacks in the division.
Response?
I'm not sold entirely on New England yet.
All right, let me hear your prediction.
I still think Buffalo is the division favorite. Cam Newton looked good. He did look good, and I'm nothing against Miami, but there were some moments there where Cam, he threw for 150, ran. Can he keep that up the entire season? Just like any other player, but especially him who's dealt with injuries.
All right, so real quick, why do you think Buffalo's going to take it?
I was going to say, because you were just talking all about the Patriots.
The defense is top 5. And Josh Allen, say what you will, he had that one turnover, yeah. But he still overthrew for 300 yards, has a weapon, and he looked better passing than I've ever seen him play. I even know it was the Jets defense.
One, don't agree with the Bills, agree with the Patriots. Obviously, I'm a homer. No, I get it. Whatever. I was high on the Bills. Josh Allen did have one turnover. He should have had 3. He's lucky he jumped on his balls.
He only fumbled one time.
Oh, he didn't?
Yeah, he did.
Go watch the game.
He only fumbled one time.
All right. So I'm sticking with the Patriots because Cam came out and played, honestly, a hell of a lot better than I was even expecting. He was on and off all season last year because of injury, and he came back and he looked like Cam from a few years back. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens, and I'm thinking that we're going to take the AFC East. Also, let's be honest, our competition's not great. Sorry, Jacob, AFC North.
Ravens. There's a lot of talent on every team in the division, but I just feel like the Ravens, they won the division last year. They've got the defense, Lamar. There's just too much. I'm going to stick with the safe pick there and go with the Ravens.
I'm going to go with the Ravens as well, only for one reason. They have the easiest schedule in the NFL. They have the easiest schedule in the NFL. Lamar Jackson, again, is facing defenses this year, except for when he faces the Chiefs, the Steelers, stuff like that, where he actually has to throw the ball, and he has not done good against good defenses. Playoffs have proven that. So we'll have to wait and see, but in my eyes, since they have the easiest schedule, they're obviously going to win the division, but it's going to be close because Pittsburgh is right there on their coattails.
I have zero rebuttal to either of you guys because I agree. I think the Ravens are going to be taking the AFC North. And I also agree with the last statement you made. I think it is going to be a damn close race. The reason I'm picking the Ravens over the Steelers is because I feel like when Pittsburgh goes to Baltimore, they're going to lose, and I bet you it's going to be a 1 or 2 game spread for who gets the division winner. Moving on to the AFC South.
The Texans.
Are you sure?
Final answer. So with the Texans, Deshaun Watson's the best quarterback in the division. At least we would think that on paper. The Colts clearly seemed overrated as they lost to the Jaguars this past weekend. I think the Jaguars will fade out. I don't think they have enough talent. Colts,
They're a good story, though.
definitely good story. I just think at the end of the day, with Deshaun Watson, too much Deshaun Watson, he'll win games when he needs to. Texans winning.
I'm still going with Indianapolis with Phillip Rivers. This is time for Jonathan Taylor and Hines, them to run the ball. I feel like it's going to be a race between them and the Titans.
Hey, this does go back to my bold prediction from back when we had the NFL draft when I said Jonathan Taylor was going to lead the league in rushing. He's got a big opportunity to do so now.
Well, I'm actually liking the fact that all three of us are divided in this division, but Titans. Great that they played the Broncos last week, and it was a closer game than I was expecting. But I just feel like Derrick Henry hasn't gotten started yet, and he's gonna run them right into a division title like he did last year. No, he didn't last year. They made it by a wild card. Sorry.
I just don't believe in Ryan Tannehill. I know he had a great year last year.
He played good on Monday night.
And their offensive line looked pretty good too. So.
I mean, it's the best offensive line he's played behind with the best running back he's ever played behind.
And even
what happens when you have a good coach?
Even though what's-his-face is...
I mean, Mike Vrabel is a great coach.
Coach. Even though what's-his-face is out, who's the end for Denver? I'm drawing a blank here.
Von Miller.
Thank you. Even though he's out, they still have one of the best front lines for their defense, and they were holding them down pretty
Going
good.
to the AFC West.
Thank you. AFC West.
Why are we even talking about
Yeah,
this?
it's the Chiefs.
We all
know.
Chiefs.
Cheers.
Anybody against it? Moving to the NFC, let's talk NFC East.
Hold on. Chief.
Hashtag Fox.
NFC East, Jacob. Switch it. Let's start with Scott.
I'm going with the Washington football team.
Really?
I was
Really?
so expecting Washington Redskins, and then you said football team. I'm like, oh shit, you're right.
You won one game, and you're on the Washington football team.
I'm on the coattails of that. Haskins looked pretty good in his first game. I know they faced the Eagles. Cowboys to me are still the Cowboys.
Oh, I mean, hey, the Eagles are still.
Okay, thank you. Cowboys to me are still that team that until they get Kellen Moore out of there as offensive coordinator, they're not going to do anything offensively. But Washington football team, their defense is going to ride them. Like they're gonna win the division title because of that front seven. Chase Young with a 1.5 sacks. Ryan Kerrigan.
Yeah.
They're a good team. So and Giants and Eagles are rebuild.
All right, my prediction: NFC East Giants. Just kidding. Sorry, I had to say it. I'm going Cowboys.
Why would you even waste the breath?
I know that was so worthless.
I got Cowboys too.
Yeah, Dallas Cowboys have just been consistently good.
Can we save this?
So I feel like when it comes to one of the worst divisions year after year in the entire league, I don't see why the Cowboys wouldn't end up taking the title.
I'm just saying I've been pretty good at picking dark horses, guys. So I'm just saying.
We have to give Scott that credit.
We do have to give him the credit.
He has been pretty good at that, but
but wait until week 3 after Dwayne Haskins has thrown 10 picks already.
Yeah, wait and see. Guys.
Whoa. First of all, I'm pretty sure I was one that defended Dwayne Haskins. He'll be just fine.
All right. So let me hear your prediction for NFC East. You say Cowboys?
I still have the Cowboys. I think they are the most talented overall team.
They've been the most talented for the last few years.
I
get that. Won the division.
They didn't win it last year. They finished 8-8.
I get that, but I mean, I gotta stick with it.
All right.
I have to stick with it.
NFC North. Let's go, Michael.
NFC North. Packers.
Packers.
I mean, first of all, you can't vote against Aaron Rodgers. Is anybody against me on this before we
Discount
continue?
double check? Yeah, I fucking hate those commercials.
Well, I'm not talking.
And I don't like Aaron Rodgers either.
They're off the air.
He can't chug a beer.
Yeah, but he still can throw dimes.
Hey, let's go to the Cowboys.
Doesn't mean
All right.
You had the Packers as well?
I feel like if the Vikings did not have Kirk Cousins, it would be Vikings division.
Yeah.
But it's Packers.
And their defense, I don't feel like they got rid of all their corners, and it showed against Devontae Adams alone. Aaron Rodgers to Devontae Adams won that game.
God help anyone in Detroit, because when the Packers faced Detroit this weekend, they just lost 3 defensive players, 3 DBs. Aaron Rodgers is going to throw for like 500 yards this Sunday.
Yeah, no, I mean,
It's not gonna be fun.
and honestly, I don't think Kirk Cousins is that bad. I know he can't win like games against teams above 500 because he has a losing record at that. But that was the game. Like Vikings and Packers, those are the 2 teams in that division, and the Packers were obviously the dominant team.
Yeah. Quick fantasy update before we move on. If you have any Lions players playing this weekend or for the rest of the season, I would sit them. Moving on to the NFC South.
No, that's not necessarily true.
DeAndre Swift is a good running back. It was his first day, and he dropped them
cost
ass.
them the whole game.
Oh, who the fuck cares?
You can't say the whole game. He just cost them a pivotal moment.
It was
in
his
winning
first
the
game. He's used to losing in Georgia. So
Not entirely true.
Pick up balls.
Not entirely true.
in big games.
But no, the fantasy thing though, because Rodgers is going to throw for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. T.J. Hawkinson probably should start him. Some of the other
Devontae
receivers,
Adams.
you should probably start them because Stafford's going to be slinging it.
Yeah.
They're going to be losing the entire game. They're going to have to throw to
right.
catch up. So they're going to have garbage time points.
NFC South. Go ahead, start us off, Jacob.
NFC South, Saints. I think it was kind of evident that Tampa Bay still has a lot of work to do. The Saints still look good. It's Drew Brees, Michael Thomas. You know, I know he's hurt for the time being.
He's out for several weeks.
Alvin Kamara. They still have the continuity.
Yeah,
they
I see what you're
have
saying.
all of that rhythm that they've had over the years before. And I think the Panthers are still in a work in progress. And I think the Falcons, no defense, no offensive line, they're going to struggle a little bit.
Scott?
I still think the Bucs, like he said, have to figure out some stuff, but they still are going to be right there.
Oh, it'll be
A
close.
thorn in the Saints' side, but I still think the Saints.
I think this week 1 win was bigger than...
I think it was more of a
I think it
statement
was.
game
Yeah,
than anything else
absolutely.
to say, because the Saints, all they heard was about Tom Brady.
Welcome to our
and
division.
you
basically.
want to
Yeah.
say you're in our division now. This is not your division. This is our
This is
division.
exactly. They were telling
Definitely.
Tom Brady this is no longer your division.
Definitely.
Never was.
Well, you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
his division
Yeah.
was the AFC.
No, I
The,
got you.
the media painted
Yeah.
that picture.
Yeah.
Big time.
And they felt disrespected.
Yeah, they stepped
and
on
that
it.
was a prime example of that. So you,
I mean, I have New Orleans too, without a doubt. I think that week 1 win was huge.
So I think this next division we're
This is
all
gonna be
going to
interesting.
differ on.
I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. Who wants to go first? Scott, do it.
this division is going to be a hard one.
It is.
And we did mention earlier in the podcast, this is the toughest.
It's going to be exciting to watch.
It is
yeah.
going to be the toughest
San
division in
Fran,
football.
I feel like there's tension there between Jimmy G and the head coach, Kyle Shanahan.
course
Kyle
there is.
Shanahan and Jimmy G, there's some tension there. They just lost Richard Sherman and George Kittle. I feel like they're not going to be as dominant as they were last year.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a race between Seattle and Arizona. I think Seattle's going to walk away with it, but I think Arizona is right there, and they're going to surprise it. Rams, to me, are just – they're not the same Rams from the Super Bowl run. But Arizona and Seattle, but I think Seattle wins the division.
I'm not going to lie. I was this close to changing my thought process because I hate when I always agree with Scott. But everything he just said was valid. I think Seattle's going to take the division. I think Arizona's going to be right up their ass. And I think it's going to be a very interesting season. And those 2 games are probably going to be both of my games of the week when it comes to that time.
Well, I was completely wrong.
Oh, we all picked Seattle.
We're all picking Seattle. We are all picking Seattle. Seattle had a statement win against Atlanta last week. Jamal Adams, as much as being a Jets fan and me saying that he doesn't necessarily make an impact, he didn't make an impact enough with the Jets, in my opinion, because again, the Jets are not surrounded by other good players. But you saw the impact that Jamal Adams made with Seattle because he was surrounded by other good players. The offense was making the plays, they were scoring, and then Jamal Adams was making the big plays on defense. And it was always at a pivotal moment. And you can never count out Russell Wilson to win a game or be an MVP. Or
I think he does it this year. I think he wins MVP this year.
I think Russell Wilson I think he's overlooked. I feel like he deserves to be in the conversation of best quarterback in the league.
Bill Belichick came out.
He's always been in that conversation, in my opinion.
Bill Belichick came out and said that he's been underrated his entire career.
Oh, he has, and that's part of the media, of course. But definitely, we all picked the Seahawks. I thought we were all going to differ, and
that's pretty funny.
We're all on the Seahawks. I think the 49ers will still be fine.
I think the Rams are going to fall off.
Honestly, I don't know. I think the Rams could be again, this is why they're the best division in football right now. Because I really do think that the Rams will not finish in last place in the division.
No, I don't believe so.
Who do you think's going to end up in last?
I think San Francisco finishes. This is going to be the first time a division could possibly have 4 playoff teams. Not 4 playoff teams, 4 playoff winning records. Sorry, they're winning
records. Winning records. Yeah.
I mean, they could have 3.
You could finish 9 and 7.
They could have 3 playoff teams.
Who did 3? Was it the AFC North a couple years back?
I think it was the NFC East with the Cowboys and all them. I think they all had winning records. Seattle was the first team.
We'll have to fact check that.
I think Seattle was the first team to make the playoffs on a 7-9 record, and that's when Marshawn had that run against the Saints.
Yeah. We should start a website instead of Carfax, be Scott Facts. All right, moving on to the next segment, a 5-game pick'em. So we got our Thursday night game, 3 games to choose on Sunday, one 1 o'clock, one 4 o'clock, the primetime game, and then Monday night. Let's talk about who you think's going to win and why, and let's keep it on the 30-second window like we did prior. Scott, start us off with tonight's game, which already started.
Yes, it has already started, Michael. This is going to be it's the shit bowl game. It's a shit bowl game, to be honest with you. Cincinnati to me, they're heading in the right direction with Joe Burrow. Let's be honest, they were honestly so close to winning the game, except for one of the worst cramps in both calves for that kicker.
Randy Bullock.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Surprised he still has a job.
When I say shit bowl, I mean full pun intended towards OBJ.
Wow.
We're starting with that already.
The Browns, I've touched on it with Michael and Jacob. They have so much talent, and they should not be underperforming like they are. They keep hiring people that are not good coaches. And I have Cincinnati winning this game 27-17, even though the Browns are favored by 6 at home.
I have the Browns winning, so it's our first different.
Trash.
I'm just sticking with the Browns because I think they have more talent. They should win. Michael.
I'll go with the Browns. I agree with the more talent. They are playing at home. They're playing at home.
You can't. They have more talent, but they just lost 3 defensive backs.
Let's start talking 1 p.m. games. I know there's a load of them. I'll pick the game that we're most interested to look into, and let's go from there. Start with Scott.
I'm going to go with Bucks versus Carolina. We're going to see how Tom goes, see how he responds to Bruce Arians' comments, how the whole entire offense responds back, how the defense responds back. Jacob, go.
That was pretty good.
Who's winning?
I picked the Bucks because I feel like Tom and them are going to respond better, and this is a good game for them to respond back to against a depleted Carolina Panthers team. And it's also a test for their defense to see if they can actually contain Christian McCaffrey for future games to come.
My 1 o'clock game, kind of an easy pick here. I'm taking it. Packers-Lions. I'm taking the Packers for obvious reasons.
Bold prediction.
Bold prediction, but hey, I mean, we're choosing the 1 o'clock games. I'm going to pick the easiest victory since we're going to be tallying these pick'ems over the course of the season. I'm going to take an easy win when I can get it.
I'm noting right now that you can't pick the easiest win every week, though.
I mean, we might have to change the format, but that's how we have it right now. 1 o'clock games, I take the Packers over the Lions.
All right, 1 o'clock game. I'm talking Dallas. I'm talking Atlanta. I'm talking Atlanta win. Easy. That's it. I don't feel like there's much more to tell you about it. I feel like Atlanta's offense is playing well, way better than they played in years prior. And looking forward to seeing Todd Gurley go off on that defense. So we'll see what happens. Let's move on to the 4 p.m.s. Mr. Jacob Ciesla.
So again, hey, I'm gonna take advantage. I'm gonna take advantage of this format right now, and again, we're gonna have to adjust this, but I'm gonna take advantage of it. I'm taking the Kansas City Chiefs over the Los Angeles Chargers. Again, obvious reasons. The Chargers still struggling with injuries. Yes, they have a good defense, but Tyrod Taylor, not the answer. Kansas City, way too much offense and way too much firepower.
I'm going to say the Washington football team versus the Arizona Cardinals. You're going to have Washington traveling out west. We're going to see if Kyler Murray can face a stacked defensive line as the Washington football team has. And we'll see how that goes, because this is kind of a statement game for both teams. And they're kind of like, are they going to be a good team or they're not going to be? They're like, both of those teams are right there on the edge, and we're going to find out on Sunday.
Unlike Jacob, I decided to pick the most difficult matchup there is, Baltimore versus Houston.
Billy bitch tits.
I'm taking Baltimore, obviously. I mean, I feel like I have 1,000 reasons as to why. Giving you 2 of them are Lamar Jackson and Baltimore's defense.
I'll give you one, Bill O'Brien.
That's a good one. Sunday night game, Jacob.
Sunday night game, I have the Seahawks. Seahawks a great week 1, and I know the Patriots did the same in week 1, but the level of competition, I think, was the difference. Atlanta, I think, is a better team than Miami. I like the Seahawks in this one. I think they're too much for the Patriots.
All right, I'm going to counter you. I mean, I'm pretty sure we all saw that one coming. But I'm not just doing it because I'm a fan. I'm doing it because I'm a fan.
Real original.
No, I'm kidding. Honestly, I don't want to do this because I really feel like if it's coming down to which pick'em is correct, I feel like the safest bet is to say Seattle because they're playing in Seattle. But the 12th man ain't there. It's just 11 of them. That's math.
Those 11 are better than the other 11 on defense.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I tell you what, man. Patriots defense, granted, it was the Dolphins. Patriots defense looked pretty good.
You were 14 against 11 going into the fourth quarter.
Because we ran the ball majority of the game.
Your defense didn't really blow it.
All right, Scott, are you going to say who your pick is this time?
No, I'm not going to interrupt you.
Okay. Scott, who do you take for the winner?
I'm picking Seattle.
Okay.
But I feel like this is going to be, it's going to be a test for Cam Newton to see if his body can hold up against a defense that actually is going to hit him. Because they have a pass rush. They have a way better defense than Miami. It's just upping the level of competition. If they come out on top, then we could start talking about the Patriots being for real. But if not, they're just another team in the AFC East to me.
All right, I'm going to start with the Monday night pick. New Orleans versus Vegas. In Vegas' new stadium for the first time. What do they call that thing? The Blackhead.
Allegiant Stadium. I don't know.
What do they call it, stadium? Anyway.
The Death Star.
The Death Star. That's what it is. I'm going New Orleans. Not going to lie, while I'm watching the game, I'm definitely going to be rooting for Vegas. I would like to see them take the first win at home. And even though I'm going against my pick, I feel like it'd be interesting to see. But let's be honest, the smartest move would be to take New Orleans. I did just take New England versus Seattle at Seattle. So I'm sticking with Noah. You?
I got the Saints. Again, they looked great last week. They definitely feel like they have something to prove. The media talking about this is Tom Brady's division now, and the Bucks are the favorite team. I think the Saints roll.
I just feel like better talent, better quarterback. The Raiders don't stand a chance against New Orleans. But I am very high on Josh Jacobs out there in Las Vegas.
Oh, definitely. He might be one of the best running backs in the league.
We're throwing in a new segment tonight to finish us off. We're calling it a What to Watch. Now, this isn't just specifically NFL. We're going to talk any sport event that's going on from the day this podcast is posted up until next week. What game you're most interested to tune into? Can't pick your home team, and why? Gonna go ahead and start off with Jacob here.
So there's obviously a lot of different events to watch this weekend and the upcoming week. I think my answer next week will be a little different based on the sport. Right now, we just saw NBA conference finals just start. So really game 1, game 2, game 3, that's not really that impactful, whereas a game 7 could be a must-watch game. Some of the events that I have on my list, starting with college football, I know it's a little different because there's not much going on. But a top 25 matchup, Miami-Louisville, it makes my list. It is not the one I want to watch, although I do think that is the best college football game on Saturday. We also have the U.S. Open in golf, playing at a very tough course. All of us average golfers out there, we're below average golfers. Well, guess what? Pros are going to look the same. So it's a little confidence boost for everyone. But again, that is not my must-watch. My must-watch is the Houston Texans and Baltimore Ravens. And the reason why is because it is former MVP Lamar Jackson against what everyone thinks is the soon-to-be MVP Deshaun Watson. Again, if we did this segment last week, it would have been the Thursday night game, Patty Mahomes against Deshaun Watson, wanting to see a quarterback duel. This is almost like the Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady element. This is what we're going to see over the next 10 years, potentially, between Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Watson. That, to me, is going to be a must-watch matchup. Still think Baltimore wins, but I still think that is going to be the game of the week to watch.
I am looking forward to watching the Washington football team versus Arizona to see what comes out of those two teams. Because if Arizona comes out on top, that's a statement game. If Washington football team comes out on top, that's a statement game for both teams who are both on the fence of where are they and where they're going in direction. And let's just give up for Ron Rivera to coach and then go in at halftime for an IV while his team was out there still playing as he's fighting cancer.
As we said, we don't pick our own teams for this segment. That being said, Sunday night game is going to be pretty damn good. Another game that I'm excited to watch is actually the Monday night game. I know we talked about it a little bit. I made a joke. I think New Orleans is still going to win the game, but it's the first time. There's 2 brand new stadiums that opened this year in the NFL. Shittiest year for COVID to happen for all fans. The Las Vegas Raiders, both the LA Chargers and the LA Rams got their SoFi Stadium. I'm looking forward to watching a game in Allegiant Stadium. Seeing that the inside of the stadium, because I haven't seen it yet, seeing them play there, and for God's sakes, if John Gruden can't get a fire under their ass for playing in their new home for the first time against one of the best teams in the league, and they don't go out there clacking heads as soon as they start playing, I'll be shocked. I bet you it's going to be pretty interesting first quarter, so we'll see what happens. That's my game of the week. All right.
I like it.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I know you guys have been waiting around for a long time for us to make another podcast. We do have some very avid listener.
Listener.
Mike McCormick, Jacob Siesla, Scott Baylor. Appreciate y'all. Talk to you guys next time on East Coast Rivals. See you later.
Peace.